Hey guys, this is Brian Jump. Yeah, I just jumped right there, a little hop, trying to get comfortable in my seat. How's it going, man? How was your weekend? It's almost over. Hate to say that. It's about 2 o'clock Pacific, so by the time you guys catch this, since I'm not broadcasting live, your weekend might be over. But it's never over until you actually take in this podcast episode, right? So, yeah, gee, golly, wow, guys, shucks. But anywho, so what is the podcast about? You're new, maybe not. We always talk about marketing. We talk about things that are going to give you lift with your business. We talk about things that are the rocket fuel that are going to propel you into space, aka give you back time in your life, which for an old cogger like me is on the top of my grocery list. Get back time, Brian. You're too old. And then, of course, make more money because I can't buy my wife enough purses. And that's not true. She's actually pretty stable lady and doesn't, not that there's anything wrong with women that want, dozens of purses. But thankfully, I'm not with one of those wonderful ladies. So anywho, yeah, we talk marketing. We talk actionable tips. We're going to go over some things. This little video format's kind of something new we're trying out. I apologize for my grotesque looks, but sometimes this translates better for some people. They kind of seem to take the information in better with the visual, not just the audio. Maybe they read my lips. So anyway, that being said, so today, what are we going to talk about? We'll go over a little bit of the baseball report real quick. It's just kind of a protocol. I'm going to try to work in some of my little personal stuff too, just so you guys get a little bit of peek behind the curtain of what makes the Brymaster tick. But anyway, so yeah, we're going to talk about some really cool stuff. We're basically going to talk about David versus Goliath. What are the big chains of businesses out there? What do they really? You think they wouldn't care about you, but they do. Trust me. We poke that monster enough. And I don't care if you're a plumber and you've got a local corporate giant that just kind of owns the market, but you're prodding at them and people are starting to kind of pay notice. Maybe you're a hairstylist and you know what? Supercuts knows that you've taken a handful of clients from them locally, or one of the larger chains. Maybe some ladies have left and said, you know what? Braxton is such a good colorist. We got to go there. He's got this new finger wave, balayage, turboprop, hot air balloon hair color thing he does that makes me look like the shiznit that cats me out. So my husband actually wants to touch my body again. So anyway, maybe TMI for a lot of you guys. But yeah, so how can we compete with these big chains? We're going to talk about that. And I'll even kind of touch on, I have a body shop as the longtime listeners know. So we'll get into that, like how I compete with the Calibers and so forth and so on and the Crash Champions. So baseball report real quick. We'll get into it. My son pitched last week. And if you have been listening, I had said something that it's been kind of a rough second half of the season. And last week was kind of no different. I don't know what it is. I don't know if he's just tired. I don't know if his mental's a little bit off kilter. But, yeah, he got kind of hit up a little bit. So I would say he did a little bit better than the week before, but still gave up a home run, gave up a handful of runs. It's kind of not the thing that my son normally does. So he's trying to figure it out. The home stretch is around the corner. I don't even know if they're going to be in the playoffs. They won the first half, but the second half, the team as a whole is a whole. So as a whole. So yeah, anyway, that being said, so nonetheless, prayers and hopes that he can finish up the season with a good outing with something to build off of instead of, finishing up the season kind of rough and then having that mental, movie play in your head about, how you wish you were better, blah, blah, blah. Like I said, the kid was killing it the first half. It looked like he was going to get called up and get to the show. And then all of a sudden the brakes hit and then it was a different story. So anyway, there's the pro baseball report. If you're into it, if you're not, I usually just quickly touch on it. So you can always just fast forward through to that if you want. This week we're getting a lot more luxury cars, and a lot of it has. I wish I could say, "Oh, I'm such a good marketer. I'm bringing all the big fish in, the big marlins," but no, no, this isn't my win. This is other wealthy people being satisfied with what we're doing and telling their neighbors who live in these crazy. I mean, these people are so wealthy. I'm kind of surprised. Oops, there goes the mic. I'm kind of surprised that they don't have like drivers and stuff. I mean, they got, but some people like to drive, like to have their own car. They're into cars. So anyway, yeah. So yeah, we're getting a lot more of those, the Ferraris, the Rolls Royces, the Lambos, which is cool. I mean, for a lot of reasons. Number one, they're fun for myself and the staff to work on, and then it's also nice having customers that will pay a few extra quid, a couple extra sterling, a couple kwan. So that's kind of the real. Anyway, so yeah, that's you're kind of caught up. Summer's coming to an end. So we're kind of starting to shift our gears a little bit with our clients too. Less people are taking vacations. Students are starting to go back to school, and the kids. We had a really big rush, which is a marketing idea for our body shop, where college students were bringing us their cars with the parents to fix up the cars before they go off to college. Which, I mean, like I said, it was about 10% of our business for like the last 2 months, which is sizable. I mean, a unique niche like that, college student car damage. So we could have probably marketed to that, but we didn't. But lesson learned, right? Check up on that one for maybe next season, starting in maybe, May, June. Hey, if you want to get little Timmy or Sally's car cleaned up before they go back to college, we have a special, $100,000 off kind of thing. Anyway, so that being said, we're not going to do listener mailbag today because today has been a busy day for the Bryster. Got out and did a really nice early morning, like 6:30 a.m. mountain bike ride. Got to see the Pacific Ocean and Catalina Island out there. If you've ever been to SoCal, it's a pretty neat view. I'm always thankful. I try not to look that gift horse in the eye or the mouth, whatever that saying is. But so beautiful. And then we played a little pickleball with the son-in-law or the daughter-in-law and son, and got waxed. By the way, got waxed. It wasn't even good. Something about my serve, but you don't want to hear about the pickleball report, the PBR. So we're going to move right along. All right, without further ado, let's just dive into this. Let's just dive in to this episode. What do big chains hope you never figure out? And we're going to try to figure that out today. So this big chains can suck a big lollipop. All right, so we had a customer come to us, and this is kind of like common sense or commonplace. Where big chain quoted, I think it was around 10 or 15 grand. And I've got a video coming out. We had like 4 cars. And over those 4 cars, I think we saved once again like 30 or 40 grand. Saved them. So that kind of tells you how much these repairs were. And we fixed it for less than half, about a third. So why are the small independents, guys, often the better choice? And what do the big chains hope that the public doesn't know? Because I'll tell you right now, a lot of people are like, man, I wish I heard about you. Yeah, to get awareness, that costs money. And it takes time, right? And that's something I don't have either one of. I have a little bit of money. I don't have a lot of time. I think I got 1 foot, maybe a foot and a half in the dirt right now, getting ready to take a little dirt nap. No, kidding. But yeah, it's cray-cray. The things that we can do that the big shops can't do. And it's not just an auto body. I don't care if you're a hairstylist. I don't care if you're a roofer. I don't care if you're a plumber, remodeler, whatever. You can stick it to the man. So this is kind of the thing. When you're marketing, okay, people need to realize, and I'll tell you right now, in auto body, they're really realizing it, is that the big chains aren't built for you. Okay, they're built for, in our industry, they're built for insurance, and they're built for high dollar tickets. Okay, so they don't care about customer needs. They go for quotas. They always try to bang the customer. Even if the customer says, look, little Timmy crashed the car, we need a more cheaper alternative. Well, yeah, no problem. Well, State Farm would charge you 10 grand. We're going to charge you $99.95. Sound like a good deal sign right here, Mrs. Johnson. No, nay, it doesn't work. And we try to give people options. And then number 2, we try to give people a better set of business that is leaner, meaner, and doesn't have caffeine. So yeah, they can save money. We can get it out fast. We can do it for the same or not, if often better quality. And we combine PDR and all kinds of other little tricks up our sleeves that these big chains don't even know what hit them. But at the same time, they're dealing with insurance. So we're taking customer pay, which they kind of don't care about. If I cross the river, if I cross the gulch, the Taint Gulch, if you will. Anybody know what that word means? Don't say it out loud, especially to the children. And I took a sizable chunk of auto body insurance work. Let's say I got some contracts with AAA and Geico. All right, a big one and a mid-sizer. Caliber, Crash Champions, all of the big chains will all be like, "What's up?" They'd be like, "What's going on? You know, how's this guy doing it?" But until then, we're taking the scraps off the table. Thanksgiving dinner's there. I've got a couple of scraps of freaking stuffing and some apple pie crust, and that's it. And they're like, "Oh yeah, we don't even care. We didn't even want that anyway." And the customers love it. And don't get me wrong, we do. We're talking millions per year in scraps off the Thanksgiving table. But the big for us in our industry, and you as a hairstylist with that crazy hot air balloon color thing you're doing, or the plumber that is out there doing same day service and killing the big chains, on and on. People don't know. People in mass don't know. And the good news is, I mean, we turned most of our ads off. All of our business right now is pretty much referral. And, you know, the old spoke and spline, or the wheel with spoke kind of thing. The center of the wheel is the customer, and all the spokes are all the people they tell about. And then we've been killing it because we do a better job. But I still haven't, Goliath hasn't felt the pain. You know what I'm saying? They don't know what we're doing. And it's probably a good thing, because if I prodded the giant enough, they could probably cause me some pain back, if you think about it. And the same goes for if you're a hairstylist and a big chain like Supercut said, you know, we want to flush the other stylists out of this area. We want to own our 5 miles. So we're going to do a free cut and color month, or a day, right? Let's say it's just Wednesdays, free cut and colors, and it lines out the door. It's like Dunkin' Donuts, free coffee, you know, on Earth Day, whatever the hell they do. So Denny's free breakfast on your birthday, if you knew about that one. I'm always the first one in line when Denny's opens, which they're open 24 hours. But yeah, so that's kind of the question. Just remember your business, that you can do things, you can out-service the giant. And the more that you can get your customers to talk, to refer, to perpetuate your superpower, the more successful you're going to be, right? So remember, they're not powered to handle the smaller customer and the mid-size. They're only really powered to handle the whale, okay? You know, like the cookie cutter haircuts, or the plumbing upsells, flat rate pricing, blah, blah, blah. Personal service is definitely their weakness. They're looking at doing large, chunky type corporate kind of business, right? You know, personal phone calls, personal follow-ups, emails, whatever your communication pipeline is, you can do it as an independent or a small business, whereas the big boys can't. And another thing to keep in mind, number 3, that's number 4, is speed and efficiency are often buried in red tape with the corporations, right? So the chains may need a lot of approvals to get stuff done. My business, somebody comes talk to me and I go, do it, you know, or God, no, don't do it, you know, and that's the speed at which we can maneuver. We're agile, whereas the big guys are not. We can move fast, we prioritize, and we adapt. Customers realize that we care about them, and we're trying to give them the best experience, and that's why we get the referrals, okay? And another thing is often quality is compromised by scale. Supercuts is not going to have the best stylists. If a lady wants to have that kick-ass hot air balloon balayage, you know, it's a brand new, I mean, it's kind of like a bouffant, but it's got the really pretty colors, and your hair kind of sails off like that house movie from Disney, whatever. They're not going to get that, you know, at Supercuts. They're going to get that at you know, AA salon or whatever, you know, Pomona. They're going to get it where people care, you know, and they're going to give them that next level face-to-face, personalized service. And when they go out the door, they're going to feel like, man, you know what? This young man really did me solid. And that's kind of what we do. I mean, plumbers, they can do, like, their big ticket a lot of times is repiping. We just had a repipe. I unfortunately know this. But I was just talking to somebody, they're paying 25 grand to a corporation who was set up by their insurance, a corporate plumbing company, when they potentially could have had it done like me for 5 or 6 grand. That's the entire house, repipe. Granted, my house is only 100 square feet. I have just a closet. Kidding. A little bbit bigger, but not much. So we're agile. We have quality. They have scale. Okay, we can pop, hit them with the freaking BB gun, and just pick off customers. And then it's lifetime value versus the one-time, one-off transactions, okay? Chains kind of look for volume turnover. We look for repetition, all right? And we want to build relationships. Our customer, we really want them to sing from the tops of the mountains, about how good we are. And hopefully they sing a lot better than that. We would rather have you for 10 years is what I would rather say, or for a lifetime instead of just, bill you once and then you're off to the next, right? So chains, the stigma, a lot of times people sometimes trust size. Okay. Like for me, they trust the chains, they trust the dealerships, but the people that really start to kind of look behind the curtain, they realize that the dealerships are stealerships and the body shops are body flops. So I just made that up, but that was pretty quick off the tongue. So it's kind of like smoke and mirrors, and they do that with marketing. A lot of times people will buy into it, and it takes time to kind of change that perception shell, if you will. Reviews, word of mouth, like I said, I mean, that's our counterpunch. They zig with the bullshit commercial, and then we uppercut, with the reviews and the real, and then also it's like, you know what, man, Denko kind of is better than that caliber chain, and I'll tell you right now, cheap pricing is that's a whole episode and then some. You don't want to be the cheapest. You want to price in line with your competitors. You just want to give a lot more value. You want to be speed. You want to be agile. You want to be personal. Because a lot of times if people pay less, they feel they got less. Even if you gave them 10x or 5x or 2x of what they're expecting, yeah, but I only paid $2,000 and the other place was $8,000. There's no way that I got $8,000 worth of value here. That's just, my mind won't wrap itself around that, right? So I've learned not to be too cheap. Even though if I can afford to, the customer just doesn't feel that they got that warm, fuzzy feeling. It's you sometimes feel automatically that you got more by paying more, which is just such a weird mental stigma, but it's just kind of the way we roll, right? So, small business superpowers. Number 1, flexibility. You can be flexible and help your customer. Number 2, personality. I don't have it. I wish I could buy it, but a lot of you guys out there have it. Use it. That's a superpower, right? 3, loyalty. If you communicate and make a connection with your customer as a small, agile business, they're going to be loyal to you. They're going to remember you, right? And that's it. That's those 3, all right? So let's say a stylist has a customer and they have a new client, just came in, and then they connect. They're spending the time to reach out and send them ideas, and then they text afterwards, and they're like, oh man, it was such a great experience with you. I'm definitely coming back, Debbie. And us, maybe we connect with a customer because we paid their deductible, and they really needed that $1,000 because their freaking washing machine just broke, and they got to wash Susie's and Billy's clothes for the new school year, right? So it's just these kind of things that I'll tell you right now. Supercuts isn't going to do, Caliber's not going to do, but we do. And you decide what I meant by do. All right. So in closing, okay, think about one thing that you do better than the big guys, the big Goliaths. All right. Highlight that in your marketing, especially if it's something, capital E, especially if it's something that the customer cares greatly about. And hopefully it's something more than just price. Try not to be the cheapo, not the cheapo McDeepo. Okay. And if you can tie that back to your own business and your listeners, your customers, I should say, are taking notice, that's how we all win. Okay. You want to go for what is recognized as value, at the top tier, and then at that point, you double down. You push all the chips to the center of the table and you bet. even if you've got 2 2s showing, and hopefully, the dealer busts. That's a blackjack analogy, by the way, for anybody that has a gambling problem like I do, gambling and drinking. On that note, let me have some sparkling water. All right. So to recap, superpowers. Small businesses can slay the giants. It takes time. The best way that I'm doing it right now and having great success is by winning over the customers and having them go out and winning them big. But I want to do this at scale. So I'll probably have them do the UGC, the user generated content. I'm going to leverage on, kind of push the chips to the table on social media a little bit more and try to really own my 5 mile. Just awareness city, just start blasting. The problem we have, and it's a good problem to have, and I hopefully I can hear from you guys, and you guys, some of you have the same problem. And the economy is weird right now, so I can't explain it. But if we looked at the calendar over my left shoulder, that would be your right. We are busy as holy F. I mean, we're booking out 3 weeks in advance, and usually people start forgetting after 2 weeks. So we get these people sometimes that flake if they don't write down their calendar. But we are, because of so many referrals, it's kind of hit terminal velocity. In other words, we kind of just need to kind of either raise the prices, which is kind of what we've done a little bit, to kind of get people to back down a little bit, because we just don't have the staff in our facility. And that's when we start to rush. We had a couple little hiccups this week. Nothing crazy, but we had big jobs getting delivered this week. And if you watch the video we're going to get into, we did a hail car for Mercedes that came out of Texas. We did a RAV4 that got smashed and totaled, but they wanted to rebuild it, did that. We did a BMW that a college or a high school student smashed and got that ready for him to go back to school. And I feel like there was one other one. Those were the 3 biggies. And then we did a nice X6 BMW, but that was just, tailgate and bumper smash. Just your usual. So anyway, there it is, guys. Let's kick some ass. Let's go freaking start cracking heads. Let's start taking business from the giants, because big business, when it gets too big, it's not good for America. It's not good for the world. Amazon is a freaking sloggy behemoth that's sloppy. Google's sloppy. Starbucks, not a bad business, but they're not, there's no personal touch there in their quality of their food. And try the baked food at Starbucks. It's gross. But it's just, they're trying to serve the masses. You're better off going to a mom and pop that's got the best coffees and the best baked goods and all that. We learned that when we went to France. I didn't want to go to the chains. We went to some kick-ass food places. But I did not, and I repeat this in private, I did not have the croissant with the escargot. And it's crazy. I'm not joking. That's a hot item over there, and every day it's sold out at Paul's Bakery. Those French are weird mofos. And if you're French listening to this, I apologize. A little crocodile tear. All right, that's it, guys. 2:34. I tried to throw as much value as I could at you. Here's value. Go forth and prosper. Go out there, make some money. Use these tips. Kick some ass. Kick Goliath in the balls. And let's take back America. America! Have a great week, and I will catch you on the next SAI Service Marketing Podcast. Bye-bye for now.